Day one, baby.
Day one.
To this day.
To this day. To this day.
To this day.
We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, boys and girls, the time has come. The time has come to make a decision in regards to tomorrow's heavyweight rematch between Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion, and Tyson Fury, the lineal champion. In truth, you can't really rest your hat on anything that anybody says, because this is indeed a 50-50 fight. In the previous fight, I saw Tyson Fury win that fight where I had decided to go with Deontay Wilder by way of knockout, and Tyson Fury, he surprised me. You know, I didn't agree with the judges' scorecards. I'm not sure if you guys did, but I know I didn't.
Fury won that fight.
In spite of those two knockdowns, I saw Tyson Fury win that fight. Could he have the same kind of performance in this fight? Well, that's the question. That's what makes this a 50-50 fight. We really don't know.
You think it happened?
Here you got Tyson Fury saying he's going for the knockout, and he comes in about 17 pounds heavier than he did in the last fight. But just as well, Deontay Wilder comes in 18 pounds heavier than he did in the last fight, balancing the scales.
More or less.
That you're not going to have some kind of weight advantage on me, you understand? Or whatever weight advantage you're going to try to have on me won't be any better than the weight advantage you had before, the weight advantage you had in the previous fight. Deontay Wilder has come in a little heavier as well. But I don't think it's going to be a factor for Wilder as much as it's going to be a factor for Fury. I want to say that I thought about this long and hard.
I did.
You know, one scenario I was leaning towards was a scenario where there's a trilogy. What would it take to make 3 fights happen between these two guys? And I thought to myself, you know, the only way I could see there being a third fight is if Fury wins tomorrow's fight. If he wins it either by way of a points decision or he somehow manages to get Deontay Wilder out of there. That's the only real scenario I could see where there's a third fight. Because if Fury goes in there and he gets knocked clean out, I don't see him invoking a rematch clause. Ladies and gentlemen, if Fury gets knocked out, it's possible he could retire. And Tyson Fury himself already said as much. So, you know, I was thinking about this scenario because neither one of these two guys seem all that keen on fighting Anthony Joshua. They seem more content keeping busy with each other, having their own little saga, their own little events. So in order for there to be a third fight that would occupy both of these guys' time, the way I looked at it was, you know, the only way that happens is if Fury wins. And I was leaning towards that for a while.
I was.
And even now, that scenario seems not just probable, but plausible. I dare say that it could happen. Tyson Fury could very well win tomorrow and shock us all because he, like Deontay Wilder, has proven that he can win a second fight against the same guy in better fashion than he did in the first fight. You know, Tyson Fury had 2 fights with Derek Chisora, and he won the second fight more emphatically than he did the first. The same is true of Deontay Wilder and his fights, his sagas with Bermane Stiverne and Luis Ortiz. In the second fight, you know, Wilder got those guys out of there much easier than he did the first time out.
He did better.
In a 50-50 fight, anything can happen, and anybody's prediction is just as good as anybody else's because it's practically even money. I mean, last time I checked the odds, they had Wilder as a slight favorite. When I say slight, I mean slight. It's almost even money, last I checked. So in that situation, anything can happen. That opens the door for Fury to shock the world. But if I have since changed my mind, it's because logically,
We're gonna be.
in a situation that's a 50-50 situation, the most logical thing you can do is go with what you know. We know what kind of fight Deontay Wilder is coming to fight because we've seen it about 43 times already. We know that this is a guy that goes in there looking for the knockout. Whereas with Tyson Fury, at least for this fight, it's a little different. Tyson Fury seems to be trying to go to from the pure boxer to the boxer puncher. A guy who's going to stay with the other guy, stay in his face, keep busy, throw a lot of punches, look to wear him down, and look for a knockout. Understand that I don't know Tyson Fury to be that kind of fighter. Quite honestly,
I don't like it.
I don't think that he can make that kind of a drastic change in just one camp for just this one guy. I don't trust it. In a 50-50 situation where anything can happen, you go with what you know. And we know what Wilder's coming to do. But what we don't know is if Tyson Fury can knock him out.
Why?
Why? Because Tyson Fury's never been that big a puncher. I mean, for all his size, his statuesque frame, the amount of weight that he carries with him, Tyson Fury is not known as a concussive puncher. He's not known to be that guy that goes in there looking for a knockout. And the thing about knockouts is the thing I always tell you. If you go in there looking for a knockout, you're running the risk of being knocked out. Because there's a difference
Between the two.
from fighting on the balls of your feet, on the go, to sitting on your punches and looking to hurt a guy. There's a difference. You get counted while you're standing on your whole foot, you're getting all of it. All of it. And if Tyson Fury, given that he's about, 17 pounds heavier than he was in the first fight, he goes in there being a little bit too busy, he might cause himself to slow down. Slow down enough that Wilder could catch him. This is a heavier Tyson Fury than the one we saw the last time. And this is a Tyson Fury that intends to be busier than he was the last time. Essentially, he plans on opening up more. But every time you open up, you give Wilder the opportunity to knock you out. The Tyson Fury that I trust is the Tyson Fury that relies on his movement, his feinting, his switch hitting, and his boxing. That's the Tyson Fury that's bankable, but that may not be what we get tomorrow. So in this situation, where it's a 50-50 fight, and everything is possible, anything can happen, and all I can do is go with what I know. I know what Deontay Wilder means to do, more or less. But what I don't know is if Tyson Fury, looking for a knockout, is going to work.
Can he get it?
So in that situation, where I can only go with what I know, I'm going with Deontay Wilder. And I'm not going with him because he's an American. I'm not going with him because I like him. Quite honestly, I can't stand him, and I would be elated to see that WBC title rescued by someone, anyone, so we don't got to put up with this guy no more. But in all honesty, I can't say that in this situation, given what the talk has been, the conversations that have been had, and what I'm looking at, I can't say that I trust Tyson Fury as a knockout puncher. I can't say that. I can't say that I like the idea of Tyson Fury opening up more on Deontay Wilder than less. I can't say I like that. Quite honestly, I don't like that. I don't like that, and I don't like the added weight. Because not only are you walking in heavier, but you plan on being busier. So that might actually weigh you down as the fight progresses.
Round after round.
Rather than aiding you in getting the knockout. I see a situation where Wilder might get this guy out of there in 7 or 8 rounds. I'm a firm believer that if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. And when I think of Fury's previous strategy, the way he went about the fight, I don't think there was a lot wrong there, so much as maybe physically Fury could have been in a bit better shape. So if there was something to correct, it would have been that, but not the overall stratagem for dealing with Wilder's power and winning the fight. Whereas now, he's gone ahead and he's looking for a knockout. And I don't trust him in that situation because I don't know him to be that kind of guy. I don't think that against a puncher like this puncher, it bodes well for Fury to start experimenting with a new base style, new implementation, and a new trainer. I don't like the absence of Ben Davidson. I don't like the look of any of it, to be honest. You know, it denotes something in Fury, an uncertainty. He is unsure. He actually seemed a lot more confident to me in his abilities the first time out, whereas here, he doesn't seem quite the same guy, though I could be wrong, because all of this is open to interpretation, and tomorrow night's fight, I reiterate, is a 50-50 fight. Not happy about it, folks, but in a situation where it's a 50-50 fight, I reiterate, all I can do is go with what I know, so I'm going with Deontay Wilder to fight the kind of fight that I'm accustomed to seeing him fight, and subsequently scoring the knockout. Let's see if it happens that way. Some things to mull over. It was further accentuated who the real cash cow of the division is when the reported purses for both of these fighters were announced. That Deontay Wilder's guaranteed $5 million and Fury's guaranteed $5 million, and supposedly they're guaranteed another $25 million. And when you think about these guarantees, that these guys are getting. This is what you're guaranteed.
This is it.
This is what you know you're going to make, and you're taking a gamble that the upside will bring in some profits as well. Well, these guarantees that both of these fighters are getting are quite nominal, quite comical, compared to what Anthony Joshua was guaranteed from his last fight.
Which was?
If I combine all the numbers being reported for both of these guys, you're looking at a grand total of $60 million between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury.
If that.
And even if I combine both of these guys' purses, it still doesn't add up to what Anthony Joshua was guaranteed. A whopping $85 million. This is much to the chagrin of Wilder's idiot fans, guys like this B. Williams guy who left this comment in my previous video, asserting that somehow Deontay Wilder is the cash cow of the heavyweight division, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that. How is he the cash cow by being guaranteed less, far less, on a regular basis than Anthony Joshua? How's Wilder the cash cow?
I don't know.
Even if I take Fury's purse and combine it with Wilder's purse, they're guaranteed purses, you understand. Even if I take their guarantees and put them together, it still doesn't add up to what Anthony Joshua was guaranteed. I mean, you're still short about $25-30 million. And that's not counting other revenue streams like, the Sky Sports pay-per-view. The one that broke domestic records in the UK. Anthony Joshua already held the record for the most pay-per-view sold in the United Kingdom with the Klitschko fight. Well,
He beat that.
his last fight, his last pay-per-view, it broke that record. And that's not counting other revenue streams, other arms of revenue around the world. Whatever those networks paid, because, in case you're not aware, these networks do pay a fee to be able to air his fights.
In other countries.
And that is yet another source of revenue, you understand. I mean, it's not a question who's the cash cow, who's getting paid more fight by fight. For Christ's sakes, Anthony Joshua made more in his last fight than Canelo Alvarez made in his last two fights. Canelo's getting roughly about $33 to $35 million per fight as a result of that 11-fight deal, whereas Anthony Joshua got about $85 million for his last fight. His earning power has increased. It's really not a question of who's the cash cow anymore, so much as what's wrong with guys like B. Williams? Are you just really bad at fucking math? Or are you just that deep in denial? Cause, in case you're not aware, in order for you to be the cash cow, you gotta be earning more money, fight by fight, than everybody else. And Wilder's not doing that with his little $25 million guarantee. That's the kind of money that Anthony Joshua made fighting guys like Carlos Takam and Alexander Povetkin. I mean, he has since graduated from those kinds of purses. Did you not hear what they guaranteed him for his last fight? And the kind of money that's being put up for his next fight from venues around the world. So, I hate to break the news to you, but no, Wilder's not a cash cow. Nor has he ever been, and I don't know that he ever will be, because he seems to be in a perpetual state of catch-up. He's playing catch-up with the real cash cow of the division, Anthony Joshua.
Did you have a chance to talk to Tim Bradley about that?
Absolutely not. Tim, here's the thing about myself and Tim. When Tim called out the PBC stable, he knew who he was talking about, and he knew who he wasn't talking about.
Who was he talking about?
He wasn't talking about Sean Porter. Okay, I could tell you who he wasn't talking about.
Yeah.
All right? So if you take out who he wasn't talking about, then you know who he was talking about.
He's talking about everybody else but you.
But Showtime Sean Porter, Tim knows, and we had this conversation. We're from the same place. All right? We do whatever it takes, whenever it takes. And he knows that about me. He knows that I'm a fighter, and I'm here to fight everybody whenever the time is right.
Do you think he does have a point?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
You think everyone is afraid of Terrence, except you?
Even within PBC, there's fighters avoiding fighters within PBC. Okay? Guys are not fighting with their heart. They're fighting with their brains. And what I mean by that is they're trying to figure out how much money they can make and who's the easiest one out there for me to.
I'm going to say that Sean Porter, in many ways, is the hardest working welterweight out there. In a lot of ways, he is. He's a PBC guy, yes, but he's not of the same school of thought
Those guys are.
that many of those fighters are, many of his stablemates. Sean Porter's been in there with anyone from Adrian Broner, to Kell Brook, to Keith Thurman, to Danny Garcia, to Yordenis Ugas, to Errol Spence.
God damn!
He's the hardest fucking working welterweight. He is. So, what does it mean when a PBC fighter, who in many ways is the hardest working welterweight in the division, says the exact same thing about PBC stable of welterweights in reference to Terence Crawford that I've been telling you all along?
Huh?
What does it mean when it's coming from a PBC fighter?
Huh?
Oh, you can write me off. You can call me biased. You can say I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I'm presenting the facts as they are, which lead me to draw the conclusions that I do. I do all this stuff so you can see where I'm coming from, but even then, there are still people that
Just don't get it.
they want to be dismissive. Okay, cool. So what's it mean when those same sentiments are being echoed from a PBC fighter, by a PBC fighter, about PBC fighters? Guys like Keith Thurman, guys like Danny Garcia, guys like Errol Spence, who have had the opportunity to fight Terence Crawford but willfully choose to go the other way time and time again. What's it mean when Sean Porter, in a very roundabout way, is saying the same things about these fighters that I've been saying?
You explain it.
What, you're gonna dismiss him too? You're gonna call him biased too?
Huh?
You're gonna call him a fanboy? I mean, really?
Huh?
There's only so many ways that PBC's core fans can address these comments from Sean Porter, because this time it ain't coming from me. It ain't coming from some YouTube channel, some YouTube author, of which there are no shortage of. This time it's coming from a PBC fighter, his motherfucking self.
They scared.
My question to those individuals is, what exactly are you a fan of? When you see Keith Thurman willfully circumvent a fight with Terence Crawford, when you see Danny Garcia do the exact same thing, and when you see Errol Spence do the exact same thing, what are you a fan of? Are you a fan of the fights, or are you a fan of just these individuals in particular, that you are so enamored with them that you seek to justify whatever they do, even if it comes at the cost of one of the biggest fights the welterweight division has to offer? To what equestrian academy of dick riding have you enrolled in that you have become so enamored with these individuals that you actually wish to keep them out of harm's way when it comes to Terence Crawford? You'd rather see them fight anybody and everybody but that guy.
You scared?
I mean, there's no word for that kind of dick riding. It just isn't, okay? You are no longer a boxing fan when you stop advocating for boxing matches. You do realize that, right? That if you ever reach the point that you like a guy so much that you actually advocate against him fighting certain fighters in his own fucking weight class, you, sir, have stopped being a boxing fan and have started being a fucking dick rider, a man fan, a weirdo even, because what kind of weird motherfucker does that shit? I mean, did you forget how you came to know these individuals in the first place? It's because of the boxing matches, and if you're not a fan of the boxing matches, what are you a fan of? The sweat beads on these guys' chests, you fucking weirdo? Well, I'll tell you what. This time, you can't get mad at me for saying it, because I'm not the one saying it. This time, it's Sean saying it. A PBC fighter with the inside track on PBC Fighters.
What are you gonna say now?